So, story. When I was new to all this and didn't know what the fuck I was doing, just like a babe in the woods, stumbling along, and I still kind of am that way. Like, for example, I don't have a proper page. If you click on my channel, I don't have all, like, I can only have, like, an introductory video. I don't have a banner, because I can't fucking figure out simple shit like going to Google Plus. Anyways, I had to get a hold of Sony Vegas Pro, and for a second I thought it was Vargas Pro. I don't know why. Neither one really makes sense. What does Vegas have to do with video editing? But I thought it was like Vargas because, like, I guess a Mexican man developed it. Like Emilio Vargas, I guess would be his name, or Horatio Vargas. Senor Vargas. Vargas Pro, because he's professional. He's the leading Mexican professional in his field of video editing. It is me, Emilio Vargas. The accent kind of became Italian there for a second. Can I grab his gun? Of course I can't.
December 21st, 1932.
That would be too useful.
The hidden truth of this city has begun to boil to the surface.
Grab onto that shit. I don't care how gross it is.
These creatures was to mindlessly slave.
Can you imagine the crotch burn he's getting right now?
However, they have clearly mutated into something.
I don't know what it's made out of though. Maybe it's like really slippery. It's not like high friction. The sensation in that case would be really pleasurable, in fact.
They now slowly poison their master. This is no city. It is a tomb.
Let's put this thing down for good.
I'm glad we got this game, and I'm glad we got the game we did, but because we got this one, there's not really room in the market for another game based on At the Mountains of Madness for at least a couple of years, because it will just be compared to this game, and they'll say, why does it exist? These hypothetical people in my head will say, why does it exist? I would. But unfortunately, that means we aren't going to... Well, either we won't get it, or we'll have to wait for a game that is more true to the source material, where you actually get to explore the alien temple city and see the aliens that actually inhabit it according to the books.
I noticed. Up here, Victor.
All right.
Looking sexy.
How do we kill it?
What do you think of this Buddha?
Detonate the charges.
What if I twerk a little bit? I can't. There's no twerk button. Oh! That's what happens inside of my asshole when I eat P.F. Chang's.
That's our last hope.
I'm closer and have an extra charge. Get the plane
It
ready.
keeps
We'll need to get
me
out.
coming back, though. I don't know why.
Good luck.
Maybe I like ass pain. I don't know. It hurts so good. Feel the burn. Apparently this creature runs on mana from Diablo. There's like mana and health fluid. I'm not a scientist. Do I grab onto that? I guess I do. Do I need to save my ammo? I feel like I don't. Get off of the fucking thing! There we go. I don't mean to shout at you, I love you. And he's like, whoa, dude, just because you're playing my character doesn't mean I want any kind of romantic relationship with you. Okay, maybe I crossed some boundaries there. That was a bit presumptuous. Fucking come here. Get all up in my face. Why was he so slow? Why was he slow? Is it because he's going uphill? Get up here. Saved a shell. MLG Pro. More shells. They're being generous towards the end. I don't know what I would do. If not for that.
I made it to the center. I think the Great One's below me.
I wish whoever is messaging me would stop.
Don't look at it. Make sure to plant the bomb on the central artery.
There's nothing on Facebook where I can say, I'm in VR, go away. Which is strange because Mark Zuckerberg owns Oculus. A source of ongoing shame
Clear.
to me.
Thank you, Victor. This is it. This is finally it.
Detonating in 3, 2, 1.
Space turd, explode! By my command. Oh, he didn't like that, or does he? Or does he?
I think that did the trick. We did it, Ava. It's dead. I'm heading to the surface. Did you get the plane running? Ava?
Ava?
Ava,
Uh-oh.
come in. Can you hear me?
He thought Ava was real,
Where are you?
but it turned out the entire time his face was gay!
Help her. Over there.
Oh yeah, she died. He tried to hit the fucking Jaguar, but he hit her instead, or hit them both. And then he blocked out the memory.
That doesn't make any sense. You are no longer in control of me. Ava's in the plane.
It's really convenient that they built
I just need to get to the
elevator
plane.
ropes. Specifically so the humans, something human-sized, could get up and down. Although some of the monsters are human-sized. They're all basically human-sized, never mind. That does make sense. I'm full of shit. Well, that's cool, those tentacles. I have dealt a devastating blow to a unique ecosystem in the Antarctic. That's what it's about, kids. Fuck environmentalism.
Oh, hell.
Oh, it's another one of these. There's a lot of these. Oh shit, run segments. Where there are unpredictable
We released it.
holes in the fucking environment. I don't know if you caught that. It turns out the monster tricked you, and all that shit was actually keeping it contained. And you destroyed what was keeping it stuck in its prison. That doesn't really explain why the alien monsters would conspire to contain a larger alien, presumably of the same origin. Oh, well, that was unavoidable. Like, are they enemies? Are they not on the same side?
I can still make it.
Professor Vargas would know.
We didn't kill it. We released it.
And now I get to listen to all the dialogue a second time. Blessed are we who must sit through the same events. That's kind of the shortcoming of story-focused single-player games. If there's a lot of dangerous shit, you're gonna die a lot. And if you die a lot, then you're gonna replay the same sequences a lot. And if there's a lot of talking in your game, you're gonna hear the same lines over and over, which is gonna diminish their impact somewhat. This is a lot of fun though, when it's happening the first time. And game over forever. Oh good, I have to do the entire thing again. I am having fun though, if that's not clear.
Still make it.
This feels good but strange. After having touch, playing gamepad games feels like playing a console game. Like an Xbox or a PS4 game, but in some futuristic holographic console. Although I guess there's PS4 VR now. So it just feels like playing a really nice PS4 VR game, I guess. that's not to talk shit about PSVR. I'm glad personally that I got the nicest headset available. Although that's debatable. Vive is really nice. Vive and Rift just have different pluses and minuses. And how the fuck do I do that? Am I doing it wrong? Am I an idiot? I'm an idiot, aren't I? For example, Vive has visible Fresnel rings pretty much all the time. Especially when there's any solid color or gradient. But that's the trade-off, because Rift does not have visible Fresnel rings. But the price of that is because of how they hid those rings by using a dual hybrid lens design, like a glass lens on top of a Fresnel lens. It has God rays. You have to either choose God rays or Fresnel rings. There's no headset that lets you have it all. But PS4 VR, that headset is definitely a step down in terms of resolution, if nothing else. So, while I'm glad that I got a real PC headset, I'm pretty impressed with what PS4 VR delivers for the price. Like, a headset of that quality for $400 is nothing to sneeze at.
Oh no. Are you alright? What happened?
I'm fine. We did it, Victor.
I'm into it. She's in a gang now, I think.
Hey, man,
I always try to talk people away from the Rift, though.
where are you hurt?
Even though I got it for myself, I kind of feel selfish and regret it. The quality is great, and I don't have to run Revive in order to run Rift games, and most of the good games are Rift games. But it's owned by Facebook. Oh, hello there. My goodness.
Dad!
You're a big old sexy beast, aren't you? Oh, hello. Just stick it right inside there. Don't ask me or nothing. And they went to a black screen because that's an implied sex scene, just like in Mass Effect. And that's the game. Anyway, I try to talk people into Vive because it's pretty much the same thing as Rift. There's small trade-offs just because of the difficulty involved in the optics of HMD engineering. It depends on whether, like, on your particular tastes, which bothers you more, like Fresnel artifacts or God rays, whether you want the headphones to be separate or not. Touch controllers are superior to Vive ones, but Vive is getting its own Knuckles controllers, which look like they work similar to touch. So they're really evenly balanced. Each one is strong in the areas, the other is weak, so to speak. I try to push people to Vive because I don't want the future to be closed source Apple bullshit. And if I had known that Oculus was going to sell it to Facebook, I committed to Oculus before I knew about that. You don't really miss much. The Vive wands do have a grip button, so you can do almost all the same inputs as a touch controller, which is why it's easy to port games between them. This is some cool fucking landscape. It's really calming. I think that was pretty good. For an early effort, Eugene Hernandez. I'm seeing some Hispanic names. I'm waiting for Senor Emilio Vargas, who is behind all of this, in fact, as you find out in the developer commentary. I think I mentioned this during the credits of Albino Lullaby, but my favorite moment in the credits of anything was I was just casually watching the credits of Batman Begins scroll by, and there was a Vietnamese man named Turbo Kong. Turbo Kong! Is that not the most metal last name, first and last name? It's a great combo. It's the same country which gave us names like Batman bin Superman. I think you've probably seen that dude's ID on the internet already. Turbo Kong. Wish I was named Turbo Kong. My life would have gone very differently. My goodness, Antarctica is a shithole. Probably it'll become much nicer as the ice begins to melt. You don't really need to have specific beliefs about why it's melting. It's melting, and it's going to become a much nicer place to live. I think the next global superpower will probably be an independent Antarctic nation. Like, we'll try to establish a colony, and it will be so resource rich and develop itself to the point where we won't be able to control it. Although that, you know, the technological capability of the British military was far behind what America has today, so an American colony in Antarctica would have a much harder time fighting its way free from the influence of the United States than British colonists who became the first Americans had, fighting their way from underneath the boots of production babies. Babies were produced specifically for this game? That's lewd. Anyway, I'm impressed. I like it. There's nothing special at the end that I know of, so... That's Edge of Nowhere. This was the first big, conventional, big-budget console-style game for VR. And this had to kind of hold us over for a long time until more people were convinced, developers were convinced, to get on board with VR and start making big games for it. This situation is now a lot more favorable. We have a lot of big games in VR. A lot of them are also not in VR, but they have VR specific controls and support touch and stuff like that when you do play in VR, so it's a VR game. And then you have stuff like Chronos. Chronos was another really big... I should stream Chronos. Holy shit. That's basically Dark Souls. VR Dark Souls, but with a more interesting premise, in my opinion. Anyway, that's it. Hit like and subscribe. Let me know what you thought in the comments. And always believe in the you that you want to be.